chat.
It's Brett. Oh, there's
Brett.
Matthew Hinman.
Yo.
Hello.
Yeah, looks like we're good to do a show. Sharon's here. I haven't seen you in a while. What's up? All right,
Hey, Sharon.
Let's we're gonna get our feed going here with a little audio. There we go. I got my audio rolling. Everybody else want to roll their audio?
Test. Yes, I'm rolling mine.
Check 1, 2.
All right. Everybody rolling?
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna do a sync clap, which is gonna be 1, 2, 3 clap. Okay. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. All right.
Ooh, that actually sounded right, like perfect. That's the first time ever.
That's Skype lag, though.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Everything's
What's up,
going
Claudio?
Here. Claudio. All right. I think we're good. Welcome, everybody, on Mograph TV. Thanks for joining us. We are going to get this thing moving. Let me get my notes. Get right into this. All right. Everybody feeling good? Feeling good?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, cool. Here we go. What's up and welcome to another Mograph Mocast. I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt, and joining us today is our new friend, Vikkal Parikh.
What's up, guys?
And Mograph is a supplement to our site, mograph.com, which is a motion graphics tutorial site with tutorials, plugins, podcasts, and other Mograph stuff. And on the show, we talk about everything ranging from motion graphics to Cinema 4D, After Effects plugins, render engines, doing business, doing taxes, being a contractor, or working for the man. You can email us info@mograph.com. Let us know what you think about the show. Questions, comments, concerns, queries, grievances, artist suggestions, show topic ideas. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Hi, TikTok. And mograph.com. Come check us out on all the things. Come check us out on Mograph TV. And shoot us an email. It doesn't matter what it is. If you've got a question, if you just want to say hi, sometimes we feel like we're not sure if anybody's out there, I do.
Did you get the email from Justin?
I did get the email from Justin, and I have it right here. And and it's very comforting sometimes to get these because it's like nobody's listening. There's nobody out there, I mean,
we see numbers. We just don't know if they're real people.
Right. Exactly. I've listened to many podcasts for a decade, and I've never written to some of them.
Right.
So, we got this great note. It's from Justin, who says, "My name is Justin. I'm a senior motion designer, CG artist from New Zealand. I just wanted to say I'm a big fan of the podcast and what you guys are doing for the community. From listening to the podcast, I built up the courage last year to go to freelance mid-pandemic. Even though it was a little terrifying at first, it's been amazing, and I just wanted to say thanks because if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't have done it. Keep doing what you're doing. Thanks." It's awesome.
Well done, Justin.
Yeah.
That's super exciting.
Yeah.
Your life has completely changed by going freelance.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. We didn't say in a good or bad way.
Right.
But it's yes.
little from column A, a little from column B,
Yeah. But real quick, Vikkal, before we get to all things you and Attaboy Studios, we're going to just quickly do some week wrap up. We don't really have that much to talk about, but I just wanted to hit a couple points real quick. Number one, I don't think we have any Camp Mograph updates right now, right?
No Camp Mograph updates yet. Just
Okay.
I think from last week it was ticket sales are April 20th at noon Eastern time. So make sure you set a calendar invite for that, and make sure and mark it, because otherwise if you try and wait like a minute or two later, I have a feeling there's not going to be any tickets left. So
what day of the week is that? Do you know?
I don't know. Hey Google, what day is April 20th this year? I think it's a Wednesday.
Is it?
Wednesday. It's a Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got to mark our calendars to be free that day. There's not like a Maxon show that day or anything, is there? I hope not.
I hope not. There may be.
It might
Who knows?
be just you. we'll check and see. But
okay.
so camp updates, nothing new on that front. Meetup wise, I did want to mention a couple things. NAB is coming. As far as we know, everything is still planned. All the different people that you usually go there to see in the motion graphics industry so far seem to be going. So I know a lot of people are trying to figure out, am I going to go? How am I going to plan this? Go to our Slack. go to the NAB channel. I know there's some other people. I kind of just got the conversation in there going again yesterday. See if other people are going, where they're staying. You know, maybe they want to do an Airbnb. Maybe they want to, you know, go to the same hotel so you can collaborate on transportation. All that kind of stuff. Get in there. The Motion Meetup that we are sponsoring along with a bunch of other people that usually happens the day before the first day of NAB. As far as we know, it is still happening. We don't have information on that yet, but as far as we know, it's happening, and the sponsors seem to be all on board. So if you're on the fence right now, I feel like everybody we're talking to, this is the plan, is to do NAB right now. But we'll gauge it, and you know we'll keep checking back in because we know the pandemic can go any direction.
I bet it's gonna depend on the spring breakers, you know, and how much chaos they cause for the pandemic. So if there's not that much, then NAB will probably still be happening. I did see that Vegas recently changed they got rid of their mask mandate, which I thought was very interesting. You know,
now that doesn't mean that the show will be that.
It doesn't mean that the show.
A lot of international people coming in, and they might be precautious about that.
Yeah, so it's interesting to we'll keep up to date. We'll let everyone know. But as of right now, we're planning on going, and I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, so we'll let you know. And we've got a couple other meetups that we're just milling around right now. We don't have any specific dates, but of course, all this is pending on how everything's going. But we're talking about maybe something in May, going to maybe like a Colorado meetup or something, possibly. Still talking to EJ, have not worked in any dates or figured any of that stuff out yet. But if you're looking to do some meetups, definitely just keep an ear out. We'll keep you posted. Upcoming shows, I just did want to mention. Next week we've got head of staff, Camp Mograph head of staff, Casey Hupke. But I did want to mention Stephanie Fung. She's moving to May, and we will have Gavin Shapiro on. So that'll be fun. And if you're watching Mograph TV, make sure that you, first of all, keep Mograph TV on all the time, right?
All the time. See, I've got it on.
Mograph TV. There you go.
Yeah.
Because after the show, other things play. Next week, we are going to start, after the show next week, you're going to see the first episode of Swarovski's Between the Keyframes. That is joining, that show is, their show is joining Mograph TV. So check that out there. But that'll be on after the show. So next week you can stick around and check out Swarovski right after the show.
That'll be fun.
And spread the word. Mograph.com/TV. Make sure that you put it on in every break room, in every conference room that has a free TV. Just stream it everywhere. Spread the word, because if you don't spread the word and if people aren't watching it, then I don't know if we're going to keep doing it. It's an experiment to see if people want to watch this, So.
And we're really hoping to also add a lot more original content from us that you'll only be able to get from Mograph TV. So make sure and stay tuned.
And there's content from Maxon, Rocket Lasso, Boris, Jags, Winbush, Plain Arts podcast is on there, and of course some of our stuff, and there's tons of content, and I spend a lot of time programming that stuff for every moment of every day. So if y'all want to watch it, that would be much appreciated. It's a lot of work. Get on there and check it out, put it on, and tell us what you think. And then lastly, classes, the brush up class, spread the word. Anybody who wants to learn Procreate, now's the time. It's always the time.
Yeah,
it's always the time.
I've been working on a project. I'm not sure if I mentioned this last week, but I've been working on a project for the past few weeks, and the entire thing is done in Procreate, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without this workshop or without that class. Yeah.
Mograph TV. If it's something you want to watch later, everything is available on those sponsors' YouTube channels, and also it is rewindable up to 12 hours. So and then that's all you get. After that, it's gone. It's live. It's like CNN, or or watching a news show. If you just put it on, you catch something. You can always catch the replay of it on those people's YouTube channels. So eventually, we will actually have an interactive schedule where you can click and find those things and bookmark them. We're just not to that point yet. Got to get that that programming done.
Right.
But, Yeah, so that check out Brush Up, check out Creating the Unreal, and Stop Being Afraid of Houdini. That's all I got for week wrap up stuff. So
Yep.
yeah. And we get like the slew of people every Monday morning who are like, I got stuff for the drop for you. It's all coming in right now. So yeah, let's Vikkal, let's get to you. Let's talk about you and your career, and start from the beginning as we usually do. So tell us about yourself. We have not met in person before, and that's why this is a little bit different. We don't know anything about you, and I think that's kind of good sometimes, you know.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show, guys. And yes, we haven't met in person, but that's the reality these days. So my career started out of school. I went to SCAD for, back then they had this thing called computer arts program, where it wasn't specific motion design or 3D, or you pretty much learn a little bit of everything. And the idea was to create art using computers. It was in 2000, and I graduated from there, and there were a few shops that were kind of up here, like Imaginary Forces were doing some good work, and Trollback was doing some like really killer, Mograph stuff, like type design, and those were definitely very influential in the work. So I moved up to New York and got an internship at Edgeworks. There's a company that did a lot of broadcast design. Mograph was pretty much used for broadcast design, and a little bit of title work back in the day. So moved up here, interning with them. Worked on this show, helped pitch a show to MTV called Room Raiders, and this was like while we were interning, so I really didn't know what it meant to be a freelancer. But once the network picked up the show, couldn't be an intern anymore, so they hired us to just work on the show, and that's really how it got started. My love for design, my background's in architecture. And then coming to SCAD, I always loved graphic design. So like combining graphic design, animation, and architecture, that seemed to be the draw for me. And motion design kind of fits the bill.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a really good foundation.
Yeah,
that's a really good foundation to work with.
Yeah, and the program that they had at SCAD too, I think, was definitely instrumental in learning a variety of things. In the short time I was there, so you could take a class in graphic design and film and sound design. So it definitely helped. Actually, gauge what I was most interested in, and it just ended up being interested in, pretty much everything. So, yeah, and I freelanced around New York for a while at different design studios, which a lot of them no longer in business. And at ad agencies, and finally settled at this post-production place, which mainly dealt in editorial, called Red Car. And I was there for close to like 6-7 years, and at the end of it, I thought it was just more, it made more sense to start out on my own, A, because I always wanted to, and B, there's, once you were working at a shop, I think sometimes you get stuck in the rut of doing the same thing over and over, and you can't find partners to actually risk it. So I felt, starting Attaboy, I could take those risks. I could, try to diversify what I worked on, and take things in my own hands, and that really helped. At Attaboy, I was able to experiment with mixed media, using live action, started directing, animating, and then finally overseeing a talented pool of people that we have at Attaboy, and helping the daily creative direction, and all in all, just creating some good stuff for good partners, and making it enjoyable.
So
Cool.
let's go back to the beginning a little bit because you mentioned the architecture stuff. So yeah, let's go back. First of all, you were born in Mumbai, is that right?
That's correct.
And so since you were in architecture first, did you feel like were you drawn to that specifically to start, and was it something technical or artistic that drew you to it?
I think it was more about creation. I think learning 3D softwares and starting to build these, virtual environments. I think that was the biggest draw in concepting and creating. And then, we used to work in Rhino 3D and, create this like
Nice.
really ornate models.
Hmm.
And moving on to 3D Studio Max and flying the camera through. I thought that was a very cool way of visualizing a space and, like how light would sort of, create areas of light and darkness and, how that would affect the space. I think that was an interesting study in my mind, and I definitely wanted to explore that further. And I think that's why specializing in computer arts seemed like the right thing to do at the time because, that just gave us the canvas to play with.
So
Cool.
did you work in you mentioned 3D Studio Max, and I know a
Hmm.
lot of you know architectural design people, especially from if you think like the year 2000, around
Yeah.
that era, were deep into 3D Max, and many people still are.
Hmm.
How much did you do in 3D Max, and did you feel like or do you feel like there's other programs now that you like better? Like, what is your main program of choice now? I don't think we've even asked that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're, very software agnostic in terms of the way we approach work. We seem to find the solution that fits the project or fits the brief the most. And
Hmm.
I think that's really helped us in shaping the way, our studio functions. Although I must say, like, they use Cinema 4D extensively, we use Maya extensively,
Hmm.
and it really depends on the task. I think we use Houdini for particles. So the artists really take upon themselves to find the most optimal solution and just go from there. So I wouldn't say like we are a Cinema 4D shop or a Maya
Right.
shop.
Hmm.
We and a lot of times we actually build those models and for real and then fly a camera through it. So uh, it really depends on the project. We like that handcrafted feel that
Hmm.
a lot of our work has, and I think the only way to do that is actually build it. And also from my background in architecture, you were always visualizing stuff by building them and then looking at them. I think that sort of overflows or spills into a little bit of the work that I'm doing right now.
Hmm.
So what made you decide like to pursue this at Savannah?
Yeah, I mean, back in India, there were no courses or no schools that helped you specialize in something like this. I think there were some like technical institutes that would teach you the software, but I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you could really learn the software yourself. And So SCAD was one of the few schools here stateside that actually offered, uh, this course. And there's SVA and Pratt.
Hmm.
Um, but coming from a coastal town, I was lured by uh, the geographical location of Savannah,
Hmm.
and thought by the ocean, and it was kind of nice actually being in a small town and not having come to New York. I don't know what it would be if I, straight up just came to New York and went to school here and worked here.
Hmm.
Just being in Savannah, helped me like sort of
Yeah.
soak in the culture. I think that was the biggest learning point. And the South is definitely more welcoming than New York. So
Yeah, that's a
Hmm.
huge contrast between
yeah.
Yeah.
those two towns. Did did you so you worked freelance after that, right? Like what did
Yeah.
you do right when you got out of college? What was your first step?
Yeah, so right out of college, I got an internship at Edgeworks.
Right.
Hmm.
And,
Right.
while I was there like a weekend, the producer was like, hey, we have to pitch this show to MTV. So to me and
Yeah.
my like another intern. They're like, "Do you guys have some ideas? We'll pay you $500 if you want to work the weekend."
Nice.
So at that point, you're like, "Yeah, sure, whatever. It helps me pay the rent." So we pitched a few ideas, and they really picked one of the ideas we worked on for Room Raiders. And they, I think like 2 weeks later, they said, "Hey, the show that you guys helped pitch, I think MTV is going to do it. And so we need you guys to build out the entire graphics package."
Nice.
And there are a couple of freelancers that you can use to build it out. So, we worked with the creative director at the time to develop that. But, after that, I think that was the internship, we graduated from interns to freelancers.
Right.
And just went from, that show ran for like 3 seasons. I left it after the 2nd season because it was just the same thing over and over.
Right.
So from there, I freelanced Trollback, Perception, like a ton of places. And at agencies like Y&R, I worked at Y&R for like almost a year, and then eventually decided that I wanted to find a place to call it home. And Red Car came into my life right around that time, and they provided like really great foundation. Like there were advertising clientele that were coming in for editorial. Motion design was fairly new at the point, so just having access to people bouncing ideas off, I think we really did well. Like being a small team, we were able to knock out like a lot of cool work in the advertising realm, and I think that was really the foundation for Attaboy.
So that was 2006, 7 era, right?
Yeah, 2006, 7, more like 8, 9, yeah.
So before GPU rendering was like really,
way before GPU, yeah.
Which really isn't that long ago, but it feels like we've been doing GPU forever now.
Forever, yeah.
So did that? I'm assuming that kind of like helped through that era, helped you really like accelerate what you were working on. Did you end up moving to GPU renders? Are you using like what is your
now
main...
we use GPU rendering. We were doing Maya and Arnold for a while, so that was mainly CPU. But once we sort of incorporated Cinema 4D into the pipeline, and started rendering with like Redshift, and I think like GPU rendering has definitely taken over now, and we can't see how we can go back.
Talk to me about Red Car and Redhead, and its relationship to Attaboy. I'm a little confused about that.
Well, that was back in.
That was back in 2009. I'm sorry, I don't know. I don't know Red Car.
It's like eons ago. It was a post-production editorial facility, and in the early 2000s, like it was one of the biggest in the advertising scenes. I think they had one in Dallas. They had one in Dallas too. Which is now like I think people have moved over and rebranded it, and it's called Republic.
Okay.
But
sounds familiar.
Yeah. So they did some really, really cool stuff, like Super Bowl commercials, like editorial, and they had some top of the line editors there. But back then they would consider what we did, like design and animation, part of finishing. And I think like that, at that point, they needed someone that could come up with ideas for like end tags or title animation within the commercials, or animated type for the commercial. And I think it helped having some motion designer in-house. And I sort of came in, and at first it was just me, and then we grew into a few people, and we rebranded ourselves as Redhead, with the aim of trying to do more narrative stuff. Let's tell a story using animation, using design, motion design, and really push our agenda there. But I think just the way the company was set up, I don't think it was very conducive to move ourselves and our careers forward. So I think we disbanded, and I started Attaboy almost 10 years ago, and just trying to evolve myself and the work I'm involved in more storytelling narrative capacity, where we started doing the entire commercials or entire videos from start to finish under one roof.
Yeah, and it's looking at the work for Attaboy, it's a wide variety of both, fully animated and live action stuff as well.
Correct.
Which I think is very cool, being able to have such a wide variety of work for the studio.
Cool, thanks. I think it took a conscious decision as a studio to not pigeonhole ourselves into just animated content or certain type of design. I think we were starting to see briefs, and partners were bringing opportunities to us where we were able to incorporate live action and animation. And, we didn't really see a lot of that happening back then. So, and with my architectural background, working with props and working with, art directed live action, I think that really appealed to me. And we have some really talented directors now that do everything from food photography to storytelling, like documentary style storytelling, to motion design. So we really try to take what we do best is tell a story and see what connects the most. I mean, now we're doing 50 videos for TikTok for a brand. And they have to be quick churn and burn because they just have to be made. I think it's just content at scale. So we find the best method for that, and try to keep things a little more modular in that case. So we are about to and we've been experimenting with animating in Procreate, Photoshop. And we did an entire music video in Photoshop back when Photoshop could not even handle, because it just seemed awesome to do. We did the Mojo Thunder music video all in Photoshop, I think in 2000, I want to say 2014. This is a long time ago. But we crashed Photoshop and we had to open frames. It was pretty entertaining. But yeah, we always trying to push boundaries in terms of how to come up with that sort of bespoke, handcrafted look. And I think that's really, I want to say our style and our emotional contribution to a project.
So throughout the years, when I'm doing Mograph stuff, I have a lot of ups and downs, right? Emotionally and philosophically, all of this, right? The older I get, the more I'm okay, I really have to have something established. What am I going to do the rest of my life? And something that comes up, I think, with a lot of people, when we were at Camp Mograph a couple years ago, Ryan Summers was talking about nobody had retired in Mograph yet, right?
Yeah.
And some of us that were kind of coming up, we were getting older. I think some of the people that were older in this industry, in 2000, were completely in a different era of this, right?
Yeah.
We're talking early Grayscale Gorilla days, Mograph.net days, all of that, right? And now that I feel like Matt and I, for example, we're entering this certain phase of our life. We're okay, are we going to stay in front of the computer doing the freelancing stuff for the rest of our lives, or are we going to run something, or are we going to do some work and some running a company or whatever that is, right? A lot of people want to jump off and freelance, but after 20 years, 25 years, you might want to do something more than that. And people ask, well, what is that? And my answer is always, okay, well, you start a studio. And that doesn't mean that you go buy a building and do whatever, right? You have to make kind of a decision, if you want to work with other people and have freelancers or employees, you got to brand yourself as a studio. So you were freelance and you did some things. Sure. Tell us a little bit about that journey and about Attaboy and about branding as a studio rather than a freelancer.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Like as you progress in a career, uh, eventually everything starts becoming mundane. Like you're like, yeah, I'm doing the same, stuff over and over. If people hire you for a certain style, I mean, how long can you do the same, animation for? Um, Thankfully, with technology now, like you can apply the same fundamentals to a lot of different areas. I think so. People getting into this field or who've been around for a little bit, have the option to work for, tech companies. And I see like a lot of people doing that, like a lot of designers who've been around for a while, like move to, the tech giants and be a part of their in-house sort of creative brain trust, so to speak, like motion oriented. But when I, started Attaboy, it was really the inkling to be able to do something bigger than just like 5 seconds for like a 30-second commercial. And when we were seeing a lot of things happening, like, oh my God, this could be done differently. This could be done better. And so instead of just, like bickering about it, I thought, I was younger and I was like, hey, my wife was very encouraging and we were like, let's give this a shot. Like if I can do something differently and if I can do something that resonates with, not only commissioned work, but, we did a bunch of not-for-profit work for nonprofits, for UN, for Shared Hope, for CARE organization. And, I think just trying to tell a story and help, a brand to sort of share their philosophy, story, brand with their audiences, I think, in a way that we think they could connect the best. I think that's really what we wanted to bring to table. And I think we still continue doing it. We have very long-standing relationships with clients that, it's just repeat work because of the fact they understand that we have a deeper understanding of the audience rather than just executing, a script or executing a board. We take the liberty to offer up modifications to a script or, like even when we're pitching on a job, a lot of times, and I think it's a two-edged sword because a lot of times we lose a pitch is because it's just so different from the original brief. But, that's what we bring to the table. We look at your problem and we try to find a creative solution to get to where you are rather than just giving you eye candy.
Yeah, it's really
and that's
important.
really what Attaboy is. Yeah.
But I will say, looking at your work, while you're doing that, you're also giving very good eye candy.
Right. Yeah.
You got to pay the bills.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing. A lot of people don't realize when you do get to that point and you start working on with clients that you have on a regular basis like that, they realize that you are a good solution because they know they can come to you for that solution, not necessarily, oh, can you just execute this plan? How are you going to execute it? And are you going to be able to come up with a good solution? And one thing that you have to do as either a freelancer or a studio or a small studio is be able to handle that variety. If clients came to us this year for like concert visual stuff, super technical, like inventions and not necessarily not necessarily anything super eye candy or anything, but being able to technically pull something off that might be complicated because it has to do with inventions in manufacturing and mechanical engineering, or you might get stuff that's just full-blown creative, and it's about, can you execute it, how well can you execute it, and are you able to fit a timeline? Are you able to fit a budget? All of that comes in when it comes to keeping clients. So you've got those clients, for example, that are coming back, over and over. That's
and I think isn't that exciting? Like that's what we feel is exciting. Like we, definitely as a studio, we do have. We get bored of stuff very quickly. So if, the same thing happens over and over, I think we lose steam and eventually it becomes a burden. And if we wanted to do a job like that, we, take on a higher paying occasionally it could be lawyers or doctors that are doing the same thing over and over. But, being artists, I think we want to experiment, and I think we want to keep that, that kindle of like the unknown. And I think that's really what drives us.
It's hard sometimes with long-standing clients too to keep everything fresh, right? Like if they say they come to you with a monthly or every 6 months or a yearly project, you want to make it better every year so that they stay with you.
Yep.
Number one, if they feel like it's getting stale, they're gonna go with someone else, Or if you're working with an agency, if you're a freelancer, you don't want the agency thinking, oh, he's always going to deliver the same exact kind of thing. You want to be throwing in fresh ideas. I was going to ask you, I wanted to talk about your work a little bit. We haven't talked about the specifics of the work. Let's start off though by like telling us like what was your favorite project to work on at Attaboy so far?
Definitely the music video I mentioned, like Mojo Thunder, that was pretty rad. We had some really good team, that actually worked on it, and I think we were very, very happy. And that and the Shared Hope, it was a video we did for Shared Hope organization for human trafficking or against, educating. For human trafficking. I think that was very touching, very helpful. A lot of people pitched in, and tons of freelancers just helped out on the project because of the cause and, just for the love of. In our recent times, I really liked working on the Progressive campaign, which, was a mixture of live action and CG. And, again, we shot. That was supposed to be an all CG campaign, and we were like, hey, why would you just let's make this make this as photoreal as possible by just shooting it. And then we incorporated the characters, and we Ridvan, he's the head technical director at Attaboy. He really knocked it out of the park with incorporating these animated characters into this using Cinema 4D, and we were able
cool.
to, so it was a lot of fun doing this, and it's very imperceptible, even to me now, like what is real and what is CG.
I was gonna say, I can't.
I
tell
know.
the
I'm
difference.
looking at it and I'm thinking that it's like stop motion.
Yeah.
But wow, it's beautiful. That's cool work.
Yeah. So we made like 3 or 4 3-layered cakes, and then shot it. We didn't have the budget for a motion control camera, but we sort of motion controlled it ourselves,
right?
And try to get it close. And then it's the same with this landscaper spot that you're playing right now. I think that we were able to sort of do a hybrid of stop motion and then use placeholder characters in there just for placements, and then. So it's equal part technical, equal part creative, and equal part risk.
Yeah.
When the client just comes with a straightforward, we need 2 15-second commercials, and this is the budget we have. Going from there to be like, listen, I know we might blow your budget, but what if we did it like this? It'd be a lot more charming. You'd have the tactile feeling for it. And, at no point, I think it will be a little more endearing than just running it, straight up. So that actually has been one of the most fun projects. I wouldn't say favorite, but one of the most fun projects to tackle.
What inspired you to go mix of live action versus just building the entire thing in 3D? Because, the 3D has gotten so good nowadays that you could probably recreate that relatively easily, especially with you already putting the 3D characters.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, it's beautiful, and I think the way that you did it was perfection. But why the choice to go that way versus doing the whole thing 3D?
I think it's the imperfections that shooting it brings, and it's just very natural when you build it. very handcrafted, and those imperfections lend to character. Whereas if you do it in 3D, you have to design those imperfections to make it feel. And so to me, I feel like that organic, the organic feel to visual is lost when it's like all CG, and it doesn't have to be shiny. It could have the right level of imperfections, but then you're struggling to get those imperfections right, and what you think is imperfect to the other, to the client might feel like too imperfect. Whereas when you're shooting it, it is real. This is what icing looks like on cake, or this is what it looks like. You can't question it. This is how water flows. You can't question it. And so just incorporating these characters, which are, not to scale, almost, that just feels, natural to be accomplished in CG.
Nice.
Yeah, that makes
Talk
sense.
to me about Mojo Thunder. I'm very interested in, like, how do you pitch something like that?
So we, pitched this band actually. So our friends at Mophonic Music used to represent this band, and they wanted to do a music video, and they had a very limited budget. So they were like, "Hey, would you like to collaborate?" And their sound was awesome, and so we were like, "Yeah, let's do it." And we pitched this sort of grungy film noir kind of look and feel, and we said, "Let's make. Are you guys okay with making this like risque? Like, do you want like a safe music video, or are you cool like making it a sultry, sexy music video?" And they were like, "Yeah, whatever you guys feel." So we sort of threw some mood board together, and for visuals, and pitched it to them. And then we got Chris Mark and Benji to come on board to help us, animate, and they fucking killed it. They really did a fantastic job, like taking that sort of vision and a story that we had come up with, and then sort of, executing it to perfection, adding like twists. And we had tons of talent that actually pitched in to help out the music video. And, someone would take on 5 seconds, someone took on 10 seconds, someone was like, "Hey, I'd like to do like this little scene," and like, "Cool, let's do it." So we had this like mishmash of style in it, and then we sort of did a once over to make everything sort of blend, perfectly.
Wow.
So visually it's black and white and it's all the same, but when you look at the animation style, it's very different. One of our 3D, actually the alligator scene, like one of the 3D artists was like, I've never cell animated before, and I'd like to try. So he did the entire scene in 3D, and then he traced on it with Photoshop to match the brush strokes and color. So, I think, so that was the charm of this video, like different techniques coming together, make it visually feel, very similar. And just the, variety of artists that worked on it was fantastic.
Was that the piece that was entirely done in Photoshop?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Nice.
That was just like brutal.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
My Siri is answering for some reason. That was weird. She just popped up and said, "Uh-huh." That was weird. Okay, so that was what I was going to ask you, if it was Photoshop or Procreate or yeah.
This was before Procreate.
Yeah, that's way before Procreate.
Yeah. Yeah, and what about the stuff you've been working on lately? I see a lot of illustrative work. I gotta go down here. You have so much on your Instagram. It's great.
Yeah.
The variety here, like I'm actually gonna bring it up here. I'm gonna start at the beginning before I go to that one and just show everybody watching. But what's great is having this variety because like we say and a lot of people say, is make the stuff that have the stuff on your reel that you want to get the work for, right? Like if you want a certain kind of work, you're not going to get it if it's not on your reel or not on your page or whatever. So you do have like the mix of the live action, you've got the 3D stuff, you've got the full live action, you've got illustrative work. I was going to ask you about this one in particular. I love this style right here. I don't know what the name of this one is.
Yeah, this one was Monash. It's so we have partners in New Zealand. They're called Circus, and they've been around as long as we have. And it was a very sort of meeting of the minds kind of a thing. Like someone that was freelancing for us put us in touch with these guys. He worked with them back in New Zealand, and he was like, dude, you should meet these guys. They work very similar to you, just in a different country. And so we just started talking. Like there was no real need for a partnership or, but like the more we started talking, I think just the way we approach it, and our motto, like make it not the same, like that really, resonated with each other. So this was done by Circus for them. It was all done in Maya, rendered to make it feel like 2D and Toon-like.
Amazing. Yeah.
But it's just the design of these characters and how they are able to bring like little charm and expression using even dots. Like it's just fantastic. I love those guys. The way they're animators, and Christian, he's the creative director there. He's just fantastic.
When you're doing 3D for 2D, I feel like the real test is if you can pause on a frame and say, that doesn't look 3D at all to me, right? And I feel like that's kind of what this looks like when you see the stills on Instagram. Like this one here, it feels like it is full-blown like 2D, like someone drew that, in Procreate or something. And when you see it animated, you're like, wow, that actually was done. I guess you said using Maya, right?
Yep. They use Maya.
Yeah, that's great. But it's so great to have that variety on there. I noticed this GE one too. I think I've seen this one before.
I have seen this one.
Yeah, this one's like all in camera. Like there's no CG at all. Like so we used.
I love this piece. I've seen this piece like hundreds of times. It is absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you. Yeah, this was again that labor of love sort of situation, and this was they wanted to like combine, faking a hand, using papercraft in the background to build the GE ecosystem, and then we figured out to use e-ink to connect circuits, and so as we connect the circuit. So the pen is like a special pen. That was the pen was the biggest problem. Like it was easy to search on Google, but then it was not available anywhere, and we had to import it from Japan. Like the manufacturer, they had stopped making it, and they had 20 left, and so we said, okay, just give us all 20.
That's
so we had to sort of rely that this pen would work, until it got here. But it worked beautifully. And we were able to, build the circuits, build these papercraft little machines, and just shot it with a single take. There are a couple of edits in there, just because we were limited in the budget to like rent a big studio. So we just shot it in our studio, and we were able to build 3 different sets, but we couldn't line them up because then there was no room for camera. So they were like 6 feet table. So we just shot, those 3 tables separately, and then, pieced it together.
And so, all the lights and all the movements from everything, is that all practical?
That's all 100% practical.
That's beautiful. Yeah. How do you like who'd you get to like actually do the programming and animation on all the, because it's not like you connect it and then the lights just come on.
Yeah, that's how it is.
You connect it and then
there's an animation.
There's like an animation, like so they cascade on. That's beautiful.
It's a combination of 2. So there's a nice behind the scenes in there too. So, my very good friend of mine, he's out in California. He was the one that actually did all the papercraft. They cut out these layouts with CNC machines. So they were like super straight, laser cut, fast. And then we connected them in a circuit in a way that they would come on together. But just like you pointed, that if you connected a circuit, the entire building lights would go on at the same time, and it wouldn't look as interesting. So what we had to do is put like separate bulbs in each window, and in behind the scenes, actually, you can see him crawled under the table with like 15 little switches. And then we like, before we do, so this was a single take. So when we were, doing rehearsals, we were like, all right, we're going to land here. And then he's just going to like 3 of them were like, tick, 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 like sort of turning the lights on. And that's how it came. A lot of it, like in the windmill, the smaller buildings, that was all like single light source. So we were able to turn them on, just using like the e-ink like circuit finish.
So what did you do what did you do for different takes? Because you had to connect the circuits. Did you have to start over and make a new piece every time?
Right. Yeah. So that we, so we thought about how are we going to do this, right? So if you look at it, there's a little pathway, and it's very imperceptible. Yeah. So you see there's a little pathway.
Oh, nice.
And that pathway, the e-ink works only on a certain type of paper. And then if we put the entire sheet of paper, we'd have to change the entire sheet. But instead, we just made this little pathway that the hand model would trace on. And then between takes, we just, we had multiple pathways cut with the CNC machine. So we just take it off, put on a new one, and then do another take.
Smart.
Wow.
How many takes did it take?
Yeah.
Oh my God. A lot. I think we sort of lost count. The worst was that car. The car did not want to behave itself. Yeah. Because it had to come and we wanted to stop at a certain point, and it just, it just had too much momentum. It would like crash or it would not take off. So like that one, I mean, we had like 20 wasted takes and just one good take, and that's the one we used.
Wow.
So, yeah, I think we like inflicting pain on ourselves.
Right.
But that's what, makes like waking up and going to work exciting.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful piece.
Yeah. Thank you.
I saw, it's a VaynerMedia. That's not.
Vayner. Gary Vaynerchuk?
Yeah. That's
Is
Gary
it Gary
Vaynerchuk.
V's? Okay,
Yeah.
I was going to ask. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so they were involved in that project too. What was the
so
involvement
they were the agency. So he came to them. They work as a social media agency for them.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I did not know that. Huh.
Yeah, they've been doing, pretty cool stuff. Like they've grown. Like in the past 5 years, I think they've grown substantially, and they've won a lot of accounts from traditional agencies. It's just like the way like Gary V works. Like he's like very boom, 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 get it done. Doesn't work, move on. Like, you don't sit and like dwell on like building a multi-billion-dollar company.
Yeah. Gotta buy the jets one way or another.
Yeah, I know.
Is he there yet?
Right.
I don't know. They're pretty cheap right now.
So what do you plan on doing moving forward? I'm curious if y'all ever plan on doing anything like a short, like an independent thing there besides client work.
Yeah, in essence, we are a fairly small studio, like compared to like a lot of, if you compare us to like Buck or Mill or whatever, I think, we're fairly small. And we have a really focused team that works on stuff. So we have all intentions of doing it, but it just gets hard, and work gets in the way. But the intentions are there. We have a couple of things. They are short documentaries that are in the works, sports doc that are in the works. And so that's our first sort of thing we want to knock out this year. And then just in terms of like animated content, Circus is pitching a movie. And so we'll see how that goes. So that's really where we are. We are also focusing a little more on like virtual production and trying to get like Unreal into this sort of live action pipeline. Yeah. And we have something coming up pretty big, which I don't think I'm allowed to talk about. So,
all right.
Yeah, I think we are very excited about that, and I think like that's really the direction moving forward. It's like the combination of like DCC applications and Unreal or Unity, and just creating work, I think that's one way we want to push forward.
If somebody is like looking to expand beyond doing freelance work and they decide, okay, I want this to be a studio, you know, what advice would you give the typical artist who's freelancing now, who wants to go to that next level? Maybe think about a studio, or, you know, running a company, maybe having a retirement, you know.
Yeah. I think you really need a big heart, and even like a stronger heart, you know, because your highs are really high and lows are absolutely low. So, you know, like February, like business is slow, like what are you gonna do? You know, and you still have the bills to pay, and you still have you know, past real estate to pay for, and but you want to keep the talent. So I think like if you have the right team with you, and I like truly believe, I absolutely truly believe, like we have an incredible team at Attaboy, and they're all, you know, very dedicated to our art. They're very dedicated to what we do and the company, and, you know, believe in each other. And so find yourself a really good team. Don't try to do it all on your own. And, you know, if that means the first few years you're, you know, working for less than minimum wages, I think it's worth it. But if you really want to do it in your lifetime, I think you should try it. Like, do not, you know, don't, like when you're 60 years old, like be like, shit, I should have done it. Don't ever do that old. You know, like I would say, like, it is something worth risking everything for, because it's an incredible journey. You will learn things that you never expected to learn. You know, you will morph into something that you never expected to morph. I mean, you're making, you know, 20 decisions a day, you know, and it depends. Like some are financial, some are creative, some are, you know, business. And you wouldn't get that opportunity if you were, you know, just wearing your headphones and just, you know. So if you really have that feeling from the bottom of your heart, I think you should go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough making that decision, because you're like, do I want to manage a team and invoices and all the other things that go along with the business part of running a studio? You know, or do you want to? Some people just want to be that person with the headphones on, and, you know. But if that's the case, then probably the best place to retire is you know, working for somebody, right? Because then you can just do the work. But yeah, I know that that's probably something that's on a lot of people's minds, is where is this going now that this industry has been around, you know, and this industry is something you could maybe retire on.
It's really maturing. I feel like this industry is definitely maturing, and, you know, I'm happy to have been a part of it, you know, even in the growing stages. And now when, you know, it's like, you know, you can have a business plan and you have a business model, you know, while being in this industry. Whereas like 20 years ago, if you said you were a motion designer and you're starting a studio, we're like, dude, what's your business plan? Like, how many commercials are you going to make it? So but yeah, it's not for everyone, but I think everyone must try it once.
I agree.
I think a lot of people too would ask the question, like, if they came into this industry from graphic design and not necessarily like anything cinematic or any sort of video, I think if somebody is looking to go that direction and have that live action variety, and they're going into, you know, maybe starting their own studio, a good thing to do is also to have a partnership with somebody who shoots and really gets in that, because you can do that stuff yourself. You could rent a camera, you could rent all the gear or whatever, but, you know, somebody who does it on a daily basis is a good partner to have in that situation. Just finding those pieces of the puzzle that fit. You don't have to. I know a lot of people want to say everybody is an employee, not a contractor. Everybody here has a position and does, you know, and we do all of it. We do everything. You know, you want to shoot a documentary, we can do that, you know, but you do have to be careful about that, because if you try and do it all, you're definitely going to spread yourself too thin. So having those partners is great.
And finding the right person for the job, you know, like finding someone that is great at what you really want to get done, I think that's the best. A lot of times we have a client who, we are doing a portion of the job, but then there's this 30-40% of stuff that we don't do, and so we're like, you know what, we're not even going to try and attempt get a freelancer we've never worked with and focus on it. Let's just either subcontract it to another company or find someone within our network that has proven that they can do this, and let's just be transparent and collaborate. I think collaboration is a big word when you are building a business. You really want to find the right partners, collaborate, and just don't be shady, and I think you'll be fine.
Yeah. Scott says in our chat, technical problem solving ability is key, and that's true. If you don't know how to do something, being able to solve it, usually for me it's like, okay, who do we know that can solve this technically, because it's not me,
or at least walk us through it to where we could figure it out on our own.
And just having good people on standby for that. One of the questions as well in the chat is, do you have any advice for anyone that's not yet freelancing, taken that step yet, but knows some 3D, loves 3D, but is looking to get into that?
I would say to that person is, one, learn how to collaborate and be a part of a team. Because, this production, as I call it, a team sport, it is not, a solo sport. So you can be, know the software, you can do like a 5-second animation by yourself, but then working within a team and a pipeline, I think is very important. And I think just for that, being at a studio or a company, to start off, I think makes most sense to me personally is, just you learn a lot, you can give a lot because of your enthusiasm. I think what you will bring to the studio is just, amazing. And so you have something to give, and, you soak in a lot, and then decide if, I don't think financially, I know now it's been more beneficial to be a freelancer than a staff, but in the long run, I think the burnout rate, just constantly hustling for work when you're not working, as opposed to a security. And again, as you're getting older, your family, if you're not made for it, focus on the work if that's really what you want to do, and let the company support you. I mean, obviously, don't fall prey to exploitation, but if you're with a good set of people, just grow as a team.
If you haven't worked in the industry at all before, and you're straight out of college, it's hard to go direct freelance without having some experience, not just in the 3D, a little more 3D experience if you need that, but also experience working with other people and understanding how clients work and how a project works. If you're not used to that whole experience from beginning to end, it's going to be really hard to go freelance, just not knowing what to offer them. So going somewhere first and really getting a feel for it is a great idea. So were you going to say something, Matt? Did you have a...
I was just going to say, I'm curious to know how Attaboy has been handling the whole pandemic. If you've seen a shift in the way that people and companies looking to get work done are handling things, since the pandemic started. I know with us, we've been a lot more successful because companies have been more willing to use remote workers and stuff like that. I'm curious if you've found anything similar to that.
Yeah, I think, yes, we've been more open to finding remote workers and, experimenting with them. And I mean, financially, I feel like the company has done well past 2 years. So, can't complain about that. The biggest gripe I have to pandemic is that sort of team spirit, or sort of brainstorming of, just somebody walking over your shoulder and be like, that's cool. And I think that's just that little bit of acknowledgement that you need, or encouragement to even pushing harder. Or if you're not sure, to just peek over, hey, can you come take a look? What do you think? And, your colleague could be like, ooh, I love it. Or, this red is distracting or something like that. I think that kind of stuff lacking. I know there are tools to do it online, like, you know, you screen share, Discord, Slack, all of the above. But I think like there's this physical sort of being in the same physical space, or even sort of, you know, decompressing about going for a coffee, or, you know, that's something that I feel the team's been missing, and we can't, you know, wait to like come back. In full force.
I totally get that. It's like that in-person collaboration that you don't even realize happens. You know, until it's not there anymore.
Like banter, like, you know, you're just talking while you're working. You can just keep like talking about stuff, and you know, I think it just keeps the juices flowing. I really feel that's very important, especially in the creative industry where it's more of a collaboration than like. Although in live action, like we've seen, like everyone still does that. So when, you know, there are live action shoots involved, like everyone's still sort of coming together and, you know, building props or, you know, on shoot day or pre-production, we're still coming together. But especially in the animated production workflow, I feel like that's, you know, been missing.
I was over at Already Been Chewed last week for like Super Bowl. We were watching the Super Bowl and stuff, and you know, I've been over there a few times. It's really funny. I introduced Barton to Discord, you know, because he wanted a way for remote workers and stuff to be able to feel like they were part of the team. I introduced him to Discord, and so he's implemented Discord in the entire system and everyone, and he's got a bunch of remote workers as well, so that they can feel like they're more there. It's funny. So Houdini Mark, you know, one of the Houdini people there, what he did, he used OBS in order to like key out his background, and he put his like his desktop there, so his viewport from Houdini, background. So everyone could see him just floating in his viewport, which is so funny. So it's like talking about the collaboration green. And stuff. Yeah. So he could just key it out. It was really funny.
Camera into it.
Right. So
you guys being all like remote, obviously, you know, you guys. How do you feel? Like, do you feel other companies have, you know, adopted this remote workflow, or it just seems like means to an end for now?
I think it's like half and half. You know, you get a lot of studios that we've talked to who are completely okay with remote workers now, especially working with some of these bigger name clients. You know, ones who are very secretive and not willing to work with remote workers ever, like 2 years ago. Now they're like, okay, you've got, you know, things in place to where we are more comfortable with that happening. I've seen a lot of that happening, but I've also seen some where they're like, you know, we want bodies in seats and stuff like that. We want that the collaborative workflow and stuff.
Yeah, we lost a pretty big gig because in the end it turned out they still wanted at least a couple days of in-person interaction in New York, and it's just like, okay, well, we're in Dallas, so
And have you had a gig in the past, at least a couple of years, where you guys were using like remote workstations that were provided by the people contracting you?
Yes.
Yes, it was not great.
I had a client that I had to use TeamViewer to log into their computers remotely, and it's like
can't work like
it's that. So bad. It was so bad, and like being able to like just having to watch like. Well, first of all, After Effects will not play normally, you know, on your local machine. Then try and play it through TeamViewer, and like it's so funny the colors would invert, and you're just like,
Need Parsec.
But I talked that Parsec is great.
Parsec is better.
I love Parsec, and what's so funny is like I introduced Barton again to Parsec, and I was like, you should use Parsec for some of your remote workers because TeamViewer is just bad, you know. And he's got a remote worker who's, I don't know if it's the ones in Greece or the one in Ukraine, but they can't use TeamViewer because due to their country's restrictions or something, but they can use Parsec in order to get into their computers there, which is really funny.
Did I talk about the meme that I made that was a picture of TeamViewer and it says, "What is my purpose?" And I said, "You start Parsec."
You start Parsec.
TeamViewer is terrible. I think Teradici is okay. Like I know a lot of people using like this, you know, price point wise, like it sort of adds to the infrastructure. But
Teradici is more of a secure lockdown type situation. You know, if you're just doing like regular old stuff, man, we do parsec between each other's computers all the time, and it's just solid. I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. Hey, I've got a quick question. Where did the name Attaboy Studios come from?
Attaboy was just, when you think of a name or what kind of a company am I starting, it's like, I want the clients to like walk away and be like, that was a job well done.
Attaboy.
Attaboy. There you go.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So I think it's just the ideology. Like we really, want to be good collaborators, and it may not be like the, Emmy Award winning stuff or like Super Bowl commercials, but when a client comes to us with certain expectations, we definitely beat them. And I think that's really our motto, is that we try to up the ante every time they come. And we've seen that, like clients, we've grown our clientele over and over. We don't have a huge, like a long list of like people we worked with once, but we have a long list of people we work over and over. So we have a short list, but like it goes horizontally, like it goes long.
Right,
so.
right. I really like that you push company culture a lot. Like and it doesn't feel like nowadays a lot of companies are doing that. So I just want to say I appreciate that from you.
Thank you. Yeah,
it's interesting.
I think the bigger you get, it's harder. Like, because we are a small team, it's easier. And, if I miss something, then, my head of production or even like a production coordinator be like, oh my God, you got, we forgot that, we should do this, do that. And so I think it's just like, you just have to do it once. So as like the founder, you just have to do it once. And then they know like, okay, that's the norm. Like somebody sent a bottle of booze to a remote, worker on his birthday. Now this is this person's birthday. Like it should happen again.
Of course.
It's just habits.
Yeah. I think it's interesting hearing the reason that people pick names of studios. We don't ask that enough. Like, we should ask that more often. Like where names came from. Even ours, Nexus Motion, like it's so obscure. It's so hard to explain sometimes. It came from the fact that we felt like Disney World was like the Nexus in the Star Trek movie. You just want to get back into the Nexus, and so we named it Nexus, and we were going to put all the money toward going to Disney World every year, which we never did.
Yeah, we never did.
I mean, we went to Disney World, but we never paid for it, by doing that. And like the word Mograph, my middle name is Mo, and you like graphs. So.
Right. Yeah, sure. That's where that came from.
Yeah.
That's where that came from. Yeah. So... yeah, that's interesting. We want to do something that we do on the show with everybody new who we meet, which is Mograph Recommends, where we're going to ask you some of your favorite things. So we're going to start by asking you your favorite movie. And again, as we always reiterate, this could be your favorite recent or all-time. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think my favorite movie is the first Matrix. That really made me do what I do right now.
Yeah. How do you feel about the newest one?
Yeah.
It was
no.
Terrible.
No.
Yeah.
I think they should have. Yeah. No
Are
worries.
you a fan? Are you a fan of the second and the third one? Because I feel like that really determines whether you.
Yeah,
like the
I
fourth
loved
one.
all three, and there were flaws and plot holes or too complex, but I still love them.
Okay.
But I think this one is not groundbreaking enough.
Which is funny because that's like a thing that they say in the movie, where it has to be groundbreaking, which I think it's funny.
So I didn't really, I think what you come to expect of a movie, like a franchise, is basically what you walk away with after, watching it the first time. And if you can't recreate that experience, this movie would have been great if they would have named it something else.
Right.
If it could be something else, and it would have been great. But I think it carries so much baggage that then you're trying to plus it. So I think there was too much context that didn't follow through. And I think that although I did love watching it, like every single moment I was watching, I was like, oh my God, I'm young again watching the
Right.
But at the end of it, I walked away not. I was like, I hope they don't do a series of it, which I think they're not. But Yeah.
I personally loved it. I feel
loved
like
it?
I did, yeah. I felt like it had the perfect amount of nostalgia as well as like, telling a new story based off of the previous, iterations and stuff. I liked it. Yeah.
Well, that's movies for you. Like I love Scarface too.
hmm Yeah.
What about TV show?
uh, TV shows are tricky.
Mhm.
I really like the experience of like Breaking Bad, like Ozark, like those kind of shows. I think they just like keep you, on the edge of your seats to watch. But they seem to be doing so many of them, and they just keep getting better. So like it's hard to like name an all-time favorite. But I'm
Mhm.
still waiting to watch the final season of Ozark. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
I've
I
seen
haven't
parts
I haven't
of
even
it.
seen the first
Seen the first?
season.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear good things.
And Better Call Saul's coming back too.
For the
super
final
excited.
season. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that too. Like they did such a good job. I almost like that a little more than Breaking Bad.
I feel
That's
the
funny.
same. I think a lot of people. I was listening to the radio the other day and just hopped in the car just by chance. They were talking about the new season of Better Call Saul coming up, and he said the exact same thing. He's like, I think it's kind of better than Breaking Bad, and I was like, kind of agreeing with that. The writing is great.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Yeah, the acting is great, writing is great. I mean, I think they like really kind of nailed it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
How about favorite music in front and not in front of the computer?
So, obviously coming from India, like Bollywood music, really listen to a lot of Bollywood music, but I like Sufi, qawwalis. They're Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan. I think you should Google him. I think it's very moody. And although they are, his traditional qawwalis are kind of religious, but I think they have a really good sort of tune to them. I love Indian classical. I used to DJ, so I still like trance music.
Yeah.
So, but I have 3 little kids, so now I'm just listening to crap.
Yeah. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Right there
So,
with you.
A lot of crap.
Baby Shark and
My God, not even worse.
Yeah.
There's a fart song, and like my son loves it. Please, if you have kids, do not make them listen. They love that.
Yeah.
And
oh
funny.
man, I'm scared now. Yeah. Anything from Coco Melon. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh
gosh.
my-
Awful.
Oh, the
how
Coco
that
Melon.
animation, you gotta get those guys there. Like how the fuck are they? They're
I
doing
know.
such.
I saw a video the other day that said why Coco Melon is so popular, and it's because there's well, first of all, I hate the camera moves. I think they're awful. Like yeah, composition, whatever. It's like the problem
Every
is
shot's a camera move.
every shot is a camera move, and they're like 1 second long.
Yeah.
And so you're constantly cutting between all these different camera moves. It's keeping children's attention, on the screen versus some of these other shows that are like 3, 4, 5 seconds in between
Yeah.
shots. It's like the kids don't have a chance to look away because it's constantly changing every second.
You're right. Like even like the characters, they kind of like jump at you. The camera
Mhm.
like go back and like move
Mhm.
around. I think you're right.
Oh,
Constant
man.
energy. Yeah.
Right?
Ruining their attention spans from the beginning,
Right?
right?
Yeah. So music's a tough one.
Yeah.
Like it's from like a variety of influences. But yeah, it's very
What about-
mood driven.
Do you listen to podcasts?
A few of them. I really like the Obsessed show by Josh Miles. Have you guys heard of that? It's like
don't.
design driven show. So I like that one. Not much, like a lot, Rev Think has a podcast that I
Yeah.
watch. I really know those
Mhm.
guys. And then just some news. So a lot of news.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Besides render engines, what is your favorite plugin?
It's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
How about a Starglow?
Starglow, okay.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
No, to be really honest, like I haven't been on the box enough now to but I definitely like keep abreast and play around with plugins, but I haven't like put any through any production pipeline, so it's really hard to I don't feel qualified enough anymore to say that.
Well, then what about app? If you pick up your phone, what's your muscle memory app?
Slack.
Nice.
Slack. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's.
Are you a glutton for punishment like me, where you leave all your notifications on Slack?
Yeah. Oh my God, it's crazy. Like including even my kids now. Like, Dad, your Slack is going off the chain.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I like Slack. I try to incorporate that within the workflow too. So a lot of we were using like Asana. By we I should say like me was using Asana for like organizing projects and stuff like that. But I really been starting to use like calendar with Slack to like try and like collaborate that. So then I'm not looking at like calendar invites and Slack or to-do lists and just like use Slack, and then like it basically everything will pop up like boom 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 boom, and that's one communication that you have with yourself and others.
I've had so many studios that I've worked with lately who are using Slack, in order to communicate. And I have to say, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's as simple as it is. It's a fantastic tool for being able to work collaboratively.
Yeah. And I think if you have like the paid version, I think they have like really good, like, like we were talking about like collaboration, like you can do a quick huddle. Like, hey, let's just like keep talking while we work, and we sort through this problem. So they have that, like just do the same with the video. So I think it's a great little tool. It's amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
How about video games? Are you into video games?
I haven't played enough video games, no.
It's more like in real life games. Tell us about the Cricket Club.
Yeah. I haven't played that enough either. I think I took a little break after my third kid because it was just too much to handle.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic came, and so like it's been like 5 years since I've been on a cricket field.
Oh, man.
I can't wait to get back. I think our team's like completely changed now, like from back when we were to like everyone's like moved away, and new people have moved in. So, but growing up in South Asia, I don't think you can get away from cricket. Like so there's like food, there's cricket, and then there's religion. Like those three things. Like I think people are so passionate about that it's crazy.
Yeah, it's got to be a little bit harder to find a cricket field here. Just at random.
You'll be surprised. If you look hard enough, you'll find they have like a really good bunch of cricket fields up in the Bronx and all over the U.S., like Rhode Island to, I'm sure if you Google, you'll find some in Texas, Dallas. But
are they mostly like indoor, outdoor? Like, where do you find them? Like, what size
they're
are
outdoor. They're outdoors. A lot of them are part-time cricket fields and then part-time baseball batting cages. So like they sort of do both, or like soccer fields, and then you have a pitch in the middle. So it's just a dry bit of land, and then you have green all around, and it's dry just so that the ball can bounce on it. And you have like two players that go back and forth.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
I follow a guy on TikTok who does the grass for a cricket field.
Oh my God.
It's very interesting to watch that.
Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, there's such a science to it. It's crazy. Yeah. Like you just think like, flatten that shit, but there's so much that goes to it. Like this is slow, this is fast. I don't know. I was more passionate about it when I was younger. As I get older, I'm like, whatever.
Well, the last one on our list is your favorite life hack, and this could be something funny or something useful. It doesn't matter. And our example is always Mitch Myers. Turn the toaster on its side for some bomb-ass grilled cheese. You have anything like that?
I think my life hack is to plan your day the day before or the night before.
Yeah,
and
that's good.
I think once I started doing that, and I don't think it's like that groundbreaking, but I think I didn't do it for a very, very long time. And like I think, since pandemic, I felt like the my task list stuff. I was just like felt like I was procrastinating a lot. So I think just setting up your day the day before is like the most important things that you want to crank out. And I usually do it, right before bed. And then anything else that comes up in the day, like unless it's, earth shattering, they'll go to the next day.
I completely agree with that. I feel like anytime that I'm feeling overwhelmed with like, gosh, there's so much to do and I don't really have a game plan, either if it's just for one day or the next couple days or even the next 5 days, like on a Sunday night, if I sit down and I just regroup and get that list and get the calendar up, like I feel so much better before I go to bed.
And you don't have to pack your day either, to be really honest. Like if it's not important, I really am a big proponent of procrastination because if it's not that important, why should you like give your leisure or some sort of mental space to like something that can be cranked out in like 2 seconds under pressure?
Right. I always feel like that's the noseman way of things too.
I was going to say that's the noseman way of thinking.
And there's like something about your day, like, I don't know, a meeting, I understand, you have to kind of get the exact time, but, I do like to think, okay, well, usually this takes me about an hour, so put it down for 2 hours. If I've got to go running for an hour, hour and a half, consider that 3 hours, just try and pad it so you don't feel bad at the end of the day that you didn't hit all those things. Like I just was always feeling bad that I didn't hit those points and I didn't do those things on time. And it's like, dude, no, it's going to take you an hour, but it's also going to take you 30 minutes to go get something to drink and go use the restroom and go upstairs and get your stuff together and get a phone call. Like, don't put down anytime there's a 30-minute meeting in your calendar, just assume it's an hour. That kind of a thing. So
then you're basically adding buffer and you are building in that sort of, free time.
Yeah. And you won't hate yourself at the end of the day.
I know.
Good life hack. Good life hack.
Good life.
Totally good. Love it. All right. Are we ready to do the drop, Matt?
Yeah, it'll be a quick one, but let's go into it.
All right, here we go.
The drop.
Is this the fucking mic?
Drop.
This is exactly what I should be doing.
What's up, and welcome to this week's episode of The Drop, your weekly source for all things NFT and crypto art, as well as upcoming drops by notable people in the Mograph industry. I'm Matt Milstead. As joining me, as always, is Dave Koss, and joining us this week is Vikkal Parikh. Let's go into the drop. It's really short today because, because of
Not
Nifty
much going
Gateway and
on.
stuff and things.
I would like to say, by the way, that this is the 1 year anniversary of doing the drop.
Is today the 1 year anniversary?
The 23rd, so in 2 days.
Okay.
But
Wow.
yeah, next week's is over a week, so I guess this is,
Well, I guess
Where's
it's
the
good
cake?
that it doesn't feel like we've been doing this for a year,
NFTs
As
accelerating
painful as sometimes it may be, it doesn't feel like it's been a year, which is good.
things. Yeah. Last year at this time is when it was it was already blowing up before February, but in my head, February of 2021 is when everything went ballistic in NFTs, and all of our friends just, that's when the Get Nifty Discord started happening and all of that. So pretty amazing. Yeah.
So I had my Beeple listed, so I was waiting for that to sell.
Yeah.
I still got a few more weeks until it did. Yeah.
So what do you got
all right.
here?
Going into Nifty Gateway, they only had a couple of drops listed for the rest of the week or whatever. I guess they're updating on Wednesday. We should just change the date of the drop from now on,
Yeah, right.
Get a full week. But okay, so on the 21st tonight, there's Micah Johnson and Bonhams. Interesting little stuff. I didn't really see much more than this. Interested to see more. Little tease. Wish they'd give me a little bit more, but that's okay, But that's tonight. Tomorrow on Nifty Gateway, there's Edward Ov. Which this one looks cool. I really love the colors. Yeah, super cool.
Those are Blake Catherine colors.
Those are Blake Catherine colors.
Patent
Yeah. So really cool looking stuff. Excited about that one. And then next up is Lyle Owerko. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. But this piece, I think Lyle has done a drop before. I'm not 100% sure. I think Lyle is a physical artist who's doing NFTs. Don't quote me on it.
Yeah,
but
so
I
that's
really
a physical piece that
right,
boombox.
Right.
I wonder if there's a 3D integration. Like, what is the deal there?
Yeah, I don't know. He's done some like AR type stuff, with different NFTs and stuff. I don't know. It's neat looking stuff.
And notice it says 2/22. It's 2/22/22 on a Tuesday tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So yeah, he's doing. Oh, okay. So I'm looking at his Twitter right now. He's got like a 3D spin of these boom boxes and stuff like that. So yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So cool stuff. Yeah. That's all I've got for Nifty Gateway right now. Moving over to Maker's Place, Arbin Velasio. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. I really like this work. What's so funny is because I was like, oh, this is cool. This is some of the other stuff. And then we get to like this one right here. And I was like, oh, that one's gorgeous. I was either on TikTok I was either on TikTok or Reddit the other day, like literally yesterday, and I saw one of these pieces that they had posted, and I was like, I just got mesmerized by it, just watching it over and over and over again. I was like, okay, this is a really good artist. I really like this one. I really like the work. Then that's tomorrow. Tomorrow is that drop, and then on the 23rd, Ying Lu, Year of the Tiger, cool little illustrative work and stuff like that. Neat little stuff there. That's on the 23rd. And then the 24th, Hackatow is doing a drop. It's a Remix Me 3. So previously on Remix Me 2, what Hackatow does is takes their art as well as other artists' work. Jonathan Winbush is actually going to be featured on this one. One of several artists who will be on this drop, where they basically remix their art and Hackatow's work together, which is pretty cool. So along with other, so it'll be Jonathan Winbush along with 11 other artists being remixed into Hackatow's work. Yeah. So super cool stuff. Cool. Yeah. Man, Winbush has just been killing it lately.
I know,
like he's
man.
Everywhere. He is everywhere. He's doing so good. And he just got the what was it? The thing. The thing. Yeah. The thing.
What did he get? I don't know. What you're talking about.
I just got to look at his pinned stuff.
He sent us a message. I'm trying to pull it up, but Facebook is being weird right now. Here we go.
Yeah.
What did he send us? Is there something new? What did he say?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I don't know. I didn't know if he had something else out today or not.
Epic Games thing. The whatever. Anyway, congrats to Jonathan Winbush for being everywhere and everywhere at the same time.
Oh, you're talking about Winbush. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about Paul for some reason. I don't know. I got ahead of myself. Okay.
Yeah,
Paul had something.
Yeah, but Paul was no, that was something completely different.
Oh, okay.
He didn't send us a piece. He was telling us that we could use any of his short films for Mograph TV.
Oh, I gotcha.
So there you go. Good stuff right there.
Yeah. I just get used to, Paul. I feel like he's got an NFT every week now. He's killing it so hard.
Yeah, he is.
That's funny.
Vikkal, have you or anyone at the studio been into any NFT stuff?
No, we haven't actually. No one at the studio that I know of has actually done it, which seems shameful. But
have you seen any, like, as a studio owner? Have you had any clients come to you talking to you about any of the NFT stuff, or like pitched any NFT things?
Yeah, I think I'm seeing like a lot of movement in terms of clients wanting to, sort of either building sort of this space to feature NFTs, or create their own sort of virtual world where they can, put their drops in and things like that, which seems pretty commonplace now, but also, fits into what we do really well. But I think we really, feel like NFT is it's great. I mean, I think it's very democratic, and I think it really helps the artist to, you know, growing up, you're like, what do you make? Like, you just make it on a computer? Like, are you like a painter? Do you know what I'm saying? But it's sort of out of that, and I feel like that's why it's great. It's like really revolutionizing this thing. But I think minting and stuff yourself, you know, a lot of people kind of, you know, take a backseat when it comes to that. So that's really the only, we are working with a blockchain company to do a bunch of TikToks for them, but
oh yeah, that's cool.
I don't know if
That's cool.
that counts as an NFT.
Right.
Yeah, it does, you know, bring validity to the craft.
Yeah.
You know, and that's good. And you know, like Sharon says here, yeah, it can be very intimidating and
Absolutely.
try to figure out how to break into it. You know, you really got to like dip your toe in, and right now it's not easy for your average artist who doesn't know anything about it to just
Correct.
say, okay, I wanna start slow and just kind of just get in here and play with it, figure it out. I think we're not to that point yet, and especially with things like the phishing attack, the OpenSea phishing attack that happened this weekend. You know, it's like $200 million stolen that quick, and the victims realized in talking to each other that the only thing that they had in common was they had manually migrated these pieces to OpenSea. And so it's like, you hear about security issues, you hear about wallets, you hear about, you're like, oh my gosh, how do I even get started? And it will get easier. But there are things like modern art thieves out there now who, you know, are trying to steal the Mona Lisa. It's very, very weird times.
Yeah.
And even like right now, people that are selling like NFTs for, you know, a certain amount, I think they've done like a huge amount of groundwork before they even got into art. So it's like very community driven. So I feel like if you're not like completely invested in the community and, you know, you're not in sync with the community, it's very hard for artists to like go out and be like, all right, here's my piece of art. Put it up on, you know, any of the platforms or exchanges and be like, let's, you know, sell it. I think that you have to put that, I would say like PR, but more like,
you gotta have
the
a name
effort.
for
You gotta
yourself.
put the
community.
effort.
Yeah. And I think it's the community engagement, like engagement within you know, whether it's like even buying like a new artist that you really like, or you know, just encouraging other people to go on. I think you have to be a part of that dialogue to, you know, be successful.
I think that would be a good episode to have. You know, like Sharon says in the chat here, you know, she's got the wallet and the art. What's next? You know, it's like, you know, you don't want to sell all of it. You know, you want to put it out there, see what's popular, sell one or two of your favorite pieces. You know, there's a whole thing behind promoting it and all of that. You have to make kind of a dedicated jump into that. Say, I'm going to commit this much time to it for maybe the next 6 months and see how it goes. Because otherwise, it's just like you just post it and then it never sells and there's no promo around it. It's you have to do that. So
I really hope that this is, you know, this sort of matures fast, and before like all the conglomerates like sort of, you know, try to like get in this space and take it away from the artists. I feel like this is our moment to shine. This is our moment to, you know, this is artists being geeks and being like tech developers and starting Google, you know, like people really did it. Like, so I think that it's very important.
Yeah, I agree. Completely agree.
And you guys are doing a great job, I must say. Like, you know, hearing your podcast and really building into this, I feel like you're definitely fostering that community, and especially from like the motion design aspect of it, like every month. It's very educating. Like everything, you know, you guys talk about is spot on, like regarding NFT or even conversations you guys have with artists. I think very poignant.
I appreciate that.
Appreciate that. Yeah. And that's what we're hoping that we can keep going now that the pandemic is, you know, kind of brought, you know, these meetups to a screeching halt. Is keeping that community thing going despite not being able to meet each other in person and all of that fun stuff. But
yeah, it's really interesting also being in this space, you know, and being an artist, and you know, the whole reason I got into NFTs in the first place is because I love art and I love a bunch of different artists' work, and I've always wanted to be able to collect something so much more than just buying a print, And for me, having that smart contract, which is basically the certificate of authenticity for it, I thought was fantastic. I could now own people's work. I can now own, another one of my favorite artists. And that to me was really cool. And coming from the art background and an appreciator of art, an art connoisseur, like I enjoyed that. And it's weird going on like Reddit and seeing people just bash NFTs and stuff and seeing it as this like, this money laundering scheme and stuff. And it's like, okay, you're looking at it not from the artist's perspective, like you're looking at it from a completely, uninformed perspective, and it's like, people are making livings off of this. You're going there and saying, okay, so there was an article about the OpenSea, they stole $17 million worth of work, and the first comment was, oh, so they didn't steal anything. It's like, no, that artwork had value and stuff like that. I have a pool in my background to prove that NFTs actually make money, and it's like, I don't know, it's frustrating. I wonder if physical artists back in like, Picasso's day or something like that had to struggle with actually saying, no, this is a legitimate form of, they
would be like, that style
work.
He's doing is just,
Yeah.
It's very easy to bash the NFT industry as a whole if you don't fully understand some of the aspects. At least try and understand it a little bit before completely stepping on it.
But I think like it's people that commoditize art are the ones bashing it, and I have to be, like people that like you call yourself an art connoisseur, like they are not the bashers. I think like the Wall Street or people that are into crypto exchange, like they are the ones that are bashing it because they don't understand the community behind it. And I think once and people within the community are not. So I just think it needs to be wider, bigger, and to legitimize. And when Wall Street's bashing, like you arrived, like I think it's kind of real. Like it's not going to go away like that. So that just needs to happen fast.
Yeah. I think what's going to be one of the biggest changes, like right now, you get some of these game companies who are talking about NFTs, and you get a bunch of gamers who are very pissed about that. I think what's going to happen is NFTs are going to be rebranded as something else, and people who are like, oh no, this isn't an NFT, this is a smart contract or something like that. Where the phrase NFT it's basically the same thing, but they're going to rebrand it into something that sounds a lot more magical. And then people are going to be like, oh yeah, cool, I'm on board. It's like right now, what's the difference between Nintendo selling you a digital copy of a Link to the Past, Zelda A Link to the Past versus an NFT? Right? It's still a digital good. The only thing that the NFT has with it is that smart contract saying that you're the one who owns it.
It's the only difference.
I don't know.
It's like that Xbox games that when you bought a CD, you could also download it on your, it's very similar to that. Like you owned it, you put it on USB, it's for yours to keep, But it's just like now there's a validity to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think once a marketplace comes up where you can buy, like especially with video games, I would think that gamers would be all about this because that gives them the ability to buy a digital copy of the video game, have it associated with your wallet, and then if you want to turn around and resell it, you can.
Or even things like whatever goes along with it, right? All your digital pieces, like your downloadable content from your games are less less verified than a blockchain transaction. So it's the same thing, really.
Yeah.
When you think
and the
about
number
it,
of times I've bought Zelda A Link to the Past on so many different versions of Nintendo stuff. I would love to be able to purchase it once and be able to transfer it anywhere I go.
True.
So,
yeah.
Anyway.
It's video game. I feel like is the one industry where like this NFT art, like the art based, I think can easily translate into, and it could provide like the perfect platform. So
that's
like
the thing.
Kind of make it open source. So that it
Yeah.
would be a perfect platform for artists to, not only feature, sell, like fashion, art, technology, they can all sort of come together, and storytelling with, gameplay. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing that the industry that's going to like benefit from it the most, which I think is the video game industry, is actually a lot of the ones that are like kind of naysaying it right now. I really think that's going to change. When you can get an NFT in the GTLF or whatever GTFO file, you can link that to whatever game you're playing, and your digital goods, and your clothing, and your armor, and all that stuff is going to happen. Sharon asked about NFTs. Is there a way to authorize a version so it can't be faked or stolen? That's basically what it is. There is no way to fake a blockchain transaction.
A blockchain transaction, but someone could, just that's and for me that's one of the big downfalls with NFTs right now is you really have to do your, homework in order to find the validity with the people who are posting it, because you never know whether you're going to get scammed.
Yeah, you don't want
I
to
think
scammed.
OpenSea needs to do a better job of that. They're really terrible about that, especially when you've got ones that are certified, like Laid Back Llamas. That one's certified, and then you've got Laid Back Llama Collection, which is not, or something, and if someone accidentally presses the wrong one, they could get, taken for it.
Yeah, there's scams like somebody has offered you X amount of dollars for something. They'll do something like they'll do a different cryptocurrency for the offer so that you don't look quick enough, and you're like, oh, five ETH, yeah. Oh, it's not 5 ETH. It's
$5
dollary dues or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just have to be very careful. So you really have to do a lot of homework. Make sure that you understand it. Do one little piece at a time. Start with something simple. Start with a small amount of money. Start with a easy piece of artwork. Maybe not your best art for your first minting, just so you get an understanding. So.
And it's going to get easier. It will.
It will get easier.
I know it will.
That's for sure.
So.
Oh, look who's here.
Dang it. I always forget.
Matt.
I always forget. What's up, Torpy?
How's it going? Sorry I missed you last week. I was buying a Valentine's Day card for my lady friend. It said, I'm mutts about you. Yeah, then we had a romantic carriage ride down in Central Bark. Yeah. I see you met Airdrop Ostrich last week. He's pretty shy, isn't he? Yeah, he's very shy.
Is.
After the OpenSea hack, he really has his head in the sand.
I knew that was coming. Yep. All right.
Yeah, that's why I prefer burying all my ETH in holes in the backyard. That's what I call dirty money.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, bye.
All right. On that note, if you or anyone you know is doing a drop, feel free to email us info@mograph.com and we'll show it on the show.
Totes.
Other than that, let's get back to the regular show.
Let's do it.
To drop.
Is this the fucking mic?
Drop.
This is exactly what I should be doing.
All right.
Vikkal, thanks
Vikkal,
so much
thank
for
you.
being on.
Yeah. Thanks so much. It was a good chat.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for having me. It was really good chatting.
Yeah,
nice
we'll have
meeting
to.
someone new.
Right?
You know?
We'll
like
have
we haven't met before. Like.
We'll have to meet up in person next time we're up in New
I
York.
know.
Yeah.
Yes, please do. Please do.
We're normally up there around October time for NAB East. So,
Yeah.
yeah, if they do that again
Hope-
this year,
yeah.
we'll, hopefully.
Hopefully you'll come up sooner than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sharon asked if I was wearing Dorpy on my hand the whole time. I'm very slick with it, right?
Yeah.
When we get close, you'll see me kind of like slowly reaching over here to grab him and like put him under the desk so Matt can't tell it's coming, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave, I have a question for you before we go. Do you have a second?
Yeah.
Was that whole thing scripted or it's just like improv?
So scripted.
Oh, that was scripted.
That was all
I write them the
scripted.
morning of. They're not that scripted. They're not that well thought out, but
Yeah.
as you can tell. But yeah.
Oh, it's funny.
I thought that was pretty impressive if you just came up with that. But
Yeah.
I do about 30 seconds of pre-pro on that at least.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah. So, if people want to find you online, where can they get a hold of you? Where can they talk to you?
At Vikkal on Instagram, Facebook, ataboystudios.com. I think there's a link to my email. It's just Vikkal at ataboystudios.com. And Attaboy Studios is at Attaboy Studios on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
All the things.
All the things.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Cool. Well, we're going to get out of here. You can rate us on iTunes, leave a review on your podcatcher of choice. It helps get our ratings up. You can also subscribe to our newsletter, which goes out every month or so. You can say you've been there, done that, got the T-shirt with the Mograph logo tee, the Paul Babb, Feel the Babb 2020 shirt. All the profits from that go to Doctors Without Borders. There's the Render Things T-shirt, hoodie, and long sleeve tee, the Mograph Blandishment shirt, and, of course, the That Render is Fire shirt, which you are only allowed to wear ironically. Unless you're shams.
Yeah.
And that wraps it up. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Hi, TikTok. Oh, no one's over there watching. Who cares? And Mograph.com. And so check us out on there. Make sure that you turn on Mograph TV. Turn it on and rip the knob off.
No. Just turn it on and watch
Just turn it on and
Yeah.
rip the knob off. There's no knob
Right.
anymore, though, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we're going to get out of here, though. Thanks again, Vikkal. And until next time, I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt.
And this is Vikkal.
Have a good one.
All right.
Later, yo.
Bye. Take care.
Stand by. Stand by.
I can now look. I never have to ask you what episode we're on again because there's
Right,
such
there
a
you go.
delay that I can turn around.